Good morning, Makin Moves family. It's Tuesday at 10, so your favorite hosts, Tim and Tim, are back. And this week we got an exciting show. We're going to talk about how clarity above all else has helped us achieve our goals. Tim, how you doing this morning, man?
Hey, Camp, could not be better. I was just sharing with somebody, got a day off to a cool start, got to jumpstart an Aston Martin Vantage. Um,
What?
yeah, man. Apparently my neighbor had one sitting in her garage. Never even knew.
And you've been in that house for like what, 15 years or something?
Since 2006. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Um,
15 years. I didn't even know she had that car.
yeah, she's got and the neighbor beside her's got a Ferrari in the garage. Apparently I'm surrounded by people that I really don't know that well.
It's Lambo time, Tim.
Nah,
Actually, you're a
nah.
little tall for a Lambo.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the Aston Martin. I'm like, I don't even know if I can get in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't like things where I have to like crawl out of them. I don't.
Mm.
It's
You know what would be really cool for you? One of those vintage old school like 69 Broncos that they refurbish from like top to bottom and it's like a brand new vehicle.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what somebody's telling me like it's called a donor car. Are you familiar with that concept? Like they'll
Hmm.
buy like a new car
Yeah.
and basically just strip it down and then
Yep.
set the old body on top of the new chassis and
Right.
new
It's best
drivetrain
of
and
both
everything.
worlds. You get
Yeah.
AC and power steering and all the good stuff. And
Yeah.
all the lights work and switches and everything.
Yeah, so maybe I could get maybe I can get an Explorer, just rip it down, put a Bronco body on it. There you
Oh
go.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So how has clarity helped us achieve our goals? I know that we were recently talking about this in our mastermind group or our mentorship group that we've had. And some of our students were kind of not clear on their goals. They didn't know which markets they wanted to invest in. They didn't know which direction they wanted to head in. And what did we do as their mentors? What did we do? All we did was ask questions and led them to their own answer. I'm clearly thinking, I know, Tim, you know who I'm talking about, but we're
Mhm.
clearly talking about one guy here that was sitting there telling us about why this one market is just so awesome. And we're like, okay, so is that where you're looking for deals? And he goes, no. I was like, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. He was like, "I'm not sure where I want to invest." And then he immediately launches into this market, this and this and this and this. And we're like, I think you just answered your question. And it was kind of a great way to drive down into that. But yeah.
And ultimately, sometimes you just got to talk about things out loud. I mean, what do you think Tim and I are here doing right now? We're just talking about, things that we know that we want to achieve and recognize. We're just talking about it out loud because once you put it out into the world, it's I don't want to say it's manifestation because, sometimes it is. But when you start talking about things out loud, something mentally clicks in your brain and you're able to just get hyper focused on exactly what you want. And if you don't know where you're going, then you're never going to get there, right? So you got to start with the end in mind, and having the clarity of and being crystal clear on exactly what you want is going to help you get there faster because you'll know how to say no. Saying no is like the most powerful thing that you can do because when you start saying yes to everything, you get shiny object syndrome and you're just all over the place.
Yeah, that's and what's the old mind trick? Get the no out of the way, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And that's no, it. Never split the difference 101, right? Get the no out of the way.
get the
Or
no out
that's
of the way.
right.
Give somebody an opportunity to go ahead and say no. But it's funny that you're talking about like just talking about things out loud because folks literally last night. Now, and we'll say we were texting out loud. Literally last night, Vitaly and I had a kind of a back and forth, and he's asking me, "What do you like about this deal?" Right? Like,
Yep.
what do you like about this? And he's basically making me just voice it out loud or type it out loud, if you will, to just kind of state the case, and then honestly it gives him an opportunity to challenge it and make me dive into it even more. And that man, there's nothing better. There's no better way to dive into goals and dive into a business plan or where you're going, get that clarity, if you will, than those kind of like clarifying questions. Make someone think about those things. It's really just kind of almost like a Jedi mind trick on how to bring somebody to their outcome, if you will, or help them figure out where they're going with things.
Yeah, and it's not meant to be. When you're having these conversations with your partners or your friends or people you're doing business with, it's not meant to be combative.
No.
It's help me understand so that I can get on the same page. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? Help me get clear on what your business plan is, because I clearly didn't have the same business plan. But when I look at your numbers, your business plan seems to work, but I still can't figure out what the hell's going on.
They're just numbers. I make them say whatever I want them to say, right?
Yeah. Cap rates are going to keep decompressing in the next 2 years.
I'm counting on a one cap, Tim. That's what I'm counting. Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Go for zero. Go for zero.
Go for zero.
As a finance and accounting guy, zero is my favorite number.
Wait, what does zero cap look like? What's
Yeah. All right. So clarity. I mean, I also, when we were having that conversation with one of our students, we were just saying how, in my own personal experience, when I was looking for my first deal all over the country, I never got anywhere. I never made any traction because I didn't get hyper focused on just one market. And it's not to say that you can't go into a lot of markets in the future, but just get your first deal done. Just get the first deal done, get super hyper clear on exactly the market that you want to buy in. And Tim, I want you to talk a little bit about your post on LinkedIn that you made today about the deal that you just got under contract. There's a tidbit at the bottom. I think you know what I'm talking about. I want you to go into a little more detail about that, because that is crystal clear about why you like that market.
so?
How you got clear on that market.
So the way I got clear on that market, and it's, I was just sitting here thinking, I was like, man, kind of timely for that post, even though I didn't plan it that way. But yeah, man, like the way I got clear on that market was just being there, walking it. And I do mean literally walking it. I've walked all the neighborhoods in that area, even some of the ones where I walked a little bit and went, I better get back in the car and go somewhere else, because they exist everywhere, right? There's neighborhoods you don't want to be in every town. So yeah, that's how I got clear on that market. And then two, the way we really dove into it and figured out we wanted to scale there is we started to see a niche within that market by living it, breathing it, tasting it, if you will. Figuring out
the street.
What's that?
Did you lick the street?
I did. It was right in the middle of COVID, so I was really trying to lick doorknobs.
It reminds me of Elf when he's eating the gum off the bottom of the candle.
Yeah, so I was doing all the things I could to try to get it right. But no, I was I was living, breathing that market, man, and I really started to figure out a niche. There's a niche in that area that you can do very well in if you know it. And if you have a good team in place, partners, brokers, lenders, you name it. If you got a good team in place, you can really kind of succeed in that niche. So yeah, but that's a great example, Tim, of what you're talking about with this whole, everybody thinks, and I'm guilty of this too. Everybody thinks if I look everywhere, I have more options. I have more opportunity. But what you really find is that you're just throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what's sticking, and what sticks may not actually be a good deal. It's not until you get really, really dialed in and focused, especially for that first deal, like pick one or two spots and just dive into it. And that's when things really started to take off for me. I think Vitaly would tell you the same thing. Is at some point I basically just said, hey, I'm going to follow these interstates through Southern Virginia into the Carolinas, and that's where I'm going to stick. I'm sticking to those. And so far it's been pretty good. And in fact, a few times I've looked outside of that little area, and Vitaly's pulled me back in. Somebody else has said something that's pulled me back in. And I just always end up defaulting to that corridor, if you will. And man, with that narrow focus and that clarity and understanding those markets the way I do, it's really opened up the doors to being able to do deals.
Yeah, and think about your competitive advantage. You know the markets inside and out, and you can be in any of those markets within a couple hours drive. Granted, we do live in such an awesome place to invest in the Carolinas, and a lot of people, want to invest in the Carolinas. But that doesn't mean that the local markets to you are a bad idea to invest in. You're going to know better than, I'm thinking about JD Crowell. Like, he lives in Charleston. Why wouldn't he invest in Charleston like we do? Well, it's because he knows the Midwest better because that's where he grew up, right? So it's like, you focus on one spot. He knows the mentality of the people there. He knows what to expect. He's got the connections and the relationships, and it only became because of his clarity on what markets that he wanted to invest in. And it's true for us too.
Yeah, and I'll give you another example since we mentioned saying no, because of what we're talking about. Just last night I was able to say no. Um, uh, so they called me up. We were looking at a property. Somebody called me up and they were like, "Hey, somebody else came in with this. Here's their terms," and I just went,
Nope.
no, no, I love it. It's a great location. Man, I would love to have this thing because there's so much opportunity on it, but they're overpaying, and
Yeah.
so no, I will not challenge that offer. Congratulations, they win. Um, you know,
Yep.
and we move on. But because I know it, and like what Tim's talking about, that competitive advantage, when to say when. And truth be told, potentially that person has another perspective on the property, and they have a different business plan that might work for them. That allows them to pay that price. It just doesn't work for me.
I want to talk about that real quick because it was kind of an aha moment maybe 6 months ago for me when I was talking to somebody that runs a hedge fund.
Mhm.
I could not understand how people would be able to pay more than what I was offering. And really, at the end of the day, was they have a different investor base. Their investors are okay with an 8% average annual return or 10% average annual return. And the investors that we work with, they want 15 to 20% average annual return. So we have to offer significantly less of a purchase price. And that's okay. There's deals out there for everyone because everyone's investor base is also going to be different. They're going to have different goals that they're trying to achieve, whether you're in aggressive growth mode, or you're in, you strictly just want cash flow. I had a call yesterday with an investor that's like, I got enough cash flow from all my properties that I own already. He's like, I want to invest with you down in the Carolinas because I'm looking for significantly equity growth. Because
Mhm.
like my properties up here in the Northeast, they cash flow, and I don't ever have to work again. But he's like, so now I'm going to take any extra money that I have, and I want to grow it substantially to grow the balance sheet. So connecting with more people and providing more options and solutions to more people, you start to learn through their perspective what they're interested in and what they're not. And that also came true in the last deal that we did the raise on, the Groudon deal, where some people wanted the 12% pref paid
Mhm.
monthly, and other people didn't really care about the pref as much. They were more interested in the equity and the depreciation. So they took the other shares. And some people wanted the best of both worlds and they split it 50-50. But providing options to people and understanding what their need is going to help you have clarity around how you want to structure your deals and how you should underwrite your deals so that you can get more deals done. And you cannot take the business model and the plan that Tim and I do in the Carolinas, and you cannot put it over in the Midwest. It's just different. The properties are different. The mindset's different. The underwriting and the terms and the aggressiveness, all of that are all different. So you can't underwrite something the same way and throw spaghetti against the wall and say, well, this is how I look at all my deals across the country. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. In fact, I'm in multiple markets up and down the East Coast, from Richmond, Virginia, down to Charleston, South Carolina. And what Tim says is right. Just 4 hours up the road from me, where I was this past weekend, I have properties in Richmond, Virginia. That business plan is different than what I'm doing in Columbia, South Carolina, or Charleston, South Carolina. That it's a different business plan, and they're really not that far apart. And
Mhm.
that's certainly closer than the Carolinas and somewhere in the Midwest.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind. And whoever said Facebook user that markets change, some develop, some decline, 100%. Which is why
Exactly.
one reason you got to be clear on your goals, and another reason why you got to be really really conservative on your underwriting.
You got to
Um,
just know your markets.
yeah. Um, so knowing the markets help you develop your business plan, and then and then with your underwriting, you got to make sure that your business plan is accounting for changes in a negative way, or changes in a I guess not in a positive cash flow way, if
Mhm.
you will. And then Tim, I wanted to go back on something you were talking about, like how folks look at different things and folks have different goals. Um, and sorry about my camera, folks. I'm not sure why I'm like getting darker and darker here. But one of the things that I have seen, and Vitaly just talked about it, was, the guy who's like looking for cash flow, and then all of a sudden he's like, all right, now I've got the cash flow. I'm looking for equity now. Your own goals will change over time. I got a mentor just a couple of weeks ago. I was talking to him, and he was like, Tim, how long are you going to be doing this? It's like, I don't know. I have some metrics in mind. And once I hit those markers, things might change a little bit. I'll be doing something like this forever. I genuinely enjoy it. I love having this to look forward to every day. But the way I go about things may change, may pivot. For example, this particular mentor of mine, cash flow not a problem for him. He's got a lot of consistent cash flow coming in, and now he's going after kind of a bucket list project for himself. He's always wanted to do ground up development, and he's like, you know what? Ground up development takes time, folks. If you don't know, it could be years before you're realizing something out of that. He's always wanted to do ground up development. He's got a very good basis of cash flow, and now he's going after what's, quite frankly, I've seen the drawings and the plans for this thing. It is an amazing asset down in Florida, and I cannot wait to see it when it's done. But that's what he's going to be doing for the next 2 to 3 years, and he's able to do that because he kept his eye on the ball for the last 10 years, creating an opportunity for himself with his goals and clear goals to get to a point where he now has the capacity and the freedom, if you will, to go do that.
Yeah, that's super powerful. And, I think that makes kind of a good transition of how do you maintain your clarity throughout, the 10 years? Well, 10 years is kind of too long of a cycle for me. So we do yearly goals. So kind of want to do a little bit of accountability check-in on some of the goals that I wrote down and let you guys know where we're at. So I wrote 1,000 doors by December 31st with 10% ownership average between the portfolio, or $60 million in acquisitions. That's going to lead me to my $10,000 a month in passive income. We're at 20 million right now with 230 something doors. And the ownership varies from 1% to 23% is my highest ownership in some of these deals. So on an average basis, I think I'm getting pretty close to the 10%. Once these deals stabilize towards the end of the year, beginning of next year, we'll start to see some more cash flow out of those, which will be exciting for me. The goal I had already achieved was hire my part-time executive assistant. He's kind of more of an editor now. He's doing a lot of social media stuff for me on TikTok and Instagram. So I'm just kind of pivoting and changing, but the goal was to hire somebody. So I did that, and now it's kind of morphing into something else, but it's a step in the right direction, which is awesome. Wanted to grow the Facebook group from 1,800 members to 10,000 members by December 31st. As of today, we are at 3,000. So since January, we've almost doubled in size, which is awesome. But we're, 30% of the way to the goal. But it's only March. So we got a lot of time, and we're trying to put out a lot of content and provide a lot of value to a lot of people and help grow the group. So, if you could invite some of your friends and family and people that are interested in learning about multifamily investing, self-storage. And I know that we're mostly a multifamily group, but we do commercial real estate. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. Don't just kind of focus on just one thing once you have your first deal done. And one of the other things I wanted to do was grow our coaching class to 50 students by the end of 12/31, or by the end of this year. So our first group had 6 people, and our next group is lining up for May 2022. And we've got 4 people in it already. So we're looking to take on a couple more. So if you're interested in something like that, reach out to either one of us, and we'll send you the link, and you can check it out and have a discussion with us. But again, we're going to keep that small, so spots are limited. Yeah, Tim, how you doing on your goals?
My goals I'm a little behind on some of them, but that's it. Quite frankly, if you're not behind on a few, I say you haven't been aggressive enough with your goals.
Right.
A little behind on a few. One of my goals specifically was to scale up the student housing portfolio that we have, and we wanted to scale that to 10 properties. I know that sounds like a round number, just kind of pulled out of nowhere, but I promise you there's some metrics behind that. Um, we are currently at 4 with 2 under contract. So that gets us to 6, well on our way to 10 before the end of the year. And quite frankly, in that market, we're coming on the season when those opportunities start to show up. November, December, January, February, student housing markets tend to dry up a little bit in terms of what's available to purchase. So doing well there. We had a specific goal to expand in the Richmond market. We'd like to have had 2 additional properties by the end of 2022 in that market. We just added 1 closed on that in March. So we're 50% there on that one. That may be one where we didn't stretch enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a goal I haven't talked about yet, but I have it down. I had a goal to purchase a 100-unit or 100-unit asset or 100-unit portfolio this year. As if anybody who's following me, I have not been lead GP on a 100+ unit property to this point. And we are talking about that right now. Actually, we're looking at something right now. In fact, I have a phone call right after this to discuss that with the seller. So maybe hitting that goal here pretty soon as well. So yeah, they're going well. And I'm well on my way to creating that freedom that I was looking for through this real estate stuff. And maybe stepping out in a little bit more of a freedom style here in the next 30 days or so if this continues.
Sweet. Love it. All right. And then I had some personal goals, not just business goals. So I said I wanted to get to my pre-COVID weight of 185 pounds, down from 203 by June 2022. So I weighed myself at the gym the other day. It was 191. So I'm halfway there already, and it's March. I had a goal of working out 3 times a week. I was not consistent with that. Truthfully, I just started working out again last week at a gym down the street, which has like a circuit style class, which is really fun for me. I found out personally why I stopped going to the gym more regularly is because I need it to be a social environment. Like I have to go talk to people and be involved in something. Otherwise I get bored. I lose motivation. But I have been doing that 4 times a week instead of 3 times a week, which was my goal. So I do the classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So today was the full body workout, which kicked my ass in all honesty. We were doing like squats, squat thrust to overhead presses, and that just completely gassed me. And so we want a date night once a month with the wife. I think we're doing pretty good on that. We've been going out. I haven't been like tracking it, but I feel like we've been going out more frequently because we've been doing a lot of things. And then I wanted to take a vacation to a tropical place outside of the USA with the wife. Just last week, it's not outside of the USA, but on a whim, we were looking at Hawaii, and Hawaii lifted off all of their COVID restrictions. So we booked a 10-day vacation to Hawaii for our anniversary in May. So Tim here is going to be running. Maybe actually, you know what? It's probably going to be at like 1 o'clock in the morning for me if you're doing the 10 a.m. But I don't think I'm going to be able to join the Tuesday calls from Hawaii.
Yeah, I think there's 6 hours. So come on, man, you can do.
I think
4.
it's 8 hours.
You can do 4. You can do 4.
I think it's 8 hours difference.
We'll double check that. Mm-hmm. I was just there in July. I don't remember exactly, but if anybody knows, put it up there in the chat.
But you know what? I haven't reviewed my goals since the last time we did this call. I think it was. Well, maybe it was February 1st. And I can't believe that some of these things that I wrote down have happened already, and it's only March. I mean, there's some things that I haven't like completely accomplished yet because they just take more time. But a lot of these personal goals, maybe I didn't push myself far enough. I mean, there's one that I underlined that I have not even done once. It says go surfing once a week. I have not been in the water yet at all since I moved here. So.
Yeah, where's the surfboard? It's been in the back.
Downstairs, actually. It's downstairs. I need to get in the water.
You got it closer to the water, right?
It's closer to the door. That's a plus.
There you go.
So I know that's one I know I need to work on. I have to get into the water more. But what I did was in my calendar, I blocked out physical activity times from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. every morning, including the weekends, whether I'm at the gym or I'm riding a bike with my wife or going surfing or doing something or stand up paddleboarding or whatever we do, just go out there and be active. Like go do something instead of sitting behind this computer desk for 12 hours a day working on real estate stuff.
Yeah, and hey guys, I know maybe a couple of you are out there like, what the hell does this have to do with multifamily?
I
Has,
know.
has honestly, guys, has everything to do with it, in my opinion. Just me, because I am a workout guy. I've been doing it 6 days a week for I don't know how long now, since 93, 4, something like that. Somebody do the math there. Um, uh, and I my day does not get off to a good start unless I'm working out first thing in the morning, and then it just kind of opens the door for the rest of my day. And man, it just I just perform better. So hey Tim, good job. I'm glad you set that goal, man. And if you need an accountability partner, I'll be happy to text you at 4 a.m.
Oh
Um,
God. I actually text Jonathan. Jonathan and I, we text each other just when I just
Perfect.
text him like, hey, gym done, workout's done. So, if I can go 4 times a week and then be physically active the other 3 days a week, like that's a life worth living. That's for sure.
Yeah, perfect, man. And because, and by the way, accountability partners, folks, like you hear us talk about coaching and mentoring. And I know, in full disclosure, Vitaly and I, we have our Making Moves group, that we do that. So full disclosure, I am pitching something here, but I truly believe in it because of the accountability, if nothing else. If nothing else, that accountability every week is showing up and having to tell somebody, look somebody in the face, even if on Zoom, and tell them what you did or did not do this week. And same thing. Like I'll show up on my calls. I have a monthly accountability with a group that Tim and I are both in, actually. And it drives me nuts to think of showing up on that call and having my mentor ask me, what did you do this month? And look at him and be like, yeah, I didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I caught up on, this Netflix series I was thinking about, that kind of thing. That drives me nuts. Like I don't want that. And so having that accountability, knowing that that's coming the third Thursday of every month for, by the way, 2 hours, that drives me. It truly drives me. Same thing, like having Vitaly sitting there, there's certain things I have to do for Making Moves, and not wanting him to ask me and me not having a positive, positive progress to share with him. That drives me to get things done. I mean, if nothing else, man, that accountability is just huge.
And I mean, the goals are important still because the goals provide you clarity around what you want to achieve. They're the most important things that you identify in your life that you want to accomplish. And it's just like Iris is saying, once she totally agrees. Once you pick one or two markets and you deep dive on it, you're going to be successful. And it's the same thing with goals, and that's why we kind of lump these two topics together, is because I know that these goals keep me crystal clear and on what do I want to achieve and what do I need to focus on, and I don't get distracted by the next shiny object because it's something I would like to do. Well, I mean, there's certain power in writing down what you want to achieve, right? It just kind of puts it in. It's really weird. I don't understand it how it works, but it seems to work every single time. You just go in there and you write down what you want to achieve. And then you go back and review and you're just like, holy crap. Like I did like half this list already and didn't even realize it.
Yeah, and stick it somewhere you can see it.
Yep. It's on my desk
So
always.
that it's staring you in the face
It
always.
is. It's right here on my desk. So it's always there.
But so, and the other thing too is taking action, right? Like I love it, it's fine to have it down on paper, have that clarity, but take action on it. Even in his personal life there, you heard Vitaly talking about, I told my wife we were going to do this, and guess what? Maui opened up their restrictions, and guess where he's going?
Boom. Done. Yep.
Yep. And
Yeah.
that's great, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And
Hey, man, look, I was kind of having this conversation this weekend at the wedding that I was at, and traveling for me is a muscle I have to exercise, right? Like I don't have a job, so I don't have W-2 income that comes in all the time. So my mindset is every time I spend money, I have to some way be able to monetize that and make money off of it. But traveling on a vacation, there's no tangible money that I'm going to make out of it, but the freedom and the mental clarity that you'll get around actually taking a vacation is worth its weight in gold. And I know that I'm not good at it. I know that it's a muscle that I'm exercising. But at the end of the day, when I saw that, I just looked at my wife. We were sitting there at the dinner table, and I actually texted Tim. I was like, "What? Which one did you go to that you said that you liked?" And he mentioned two, and I was like, "All right, cool. We're going to Maui." And I just booked it for 10 nights. And I looked to my wife. I said, "Make a decision right now. Are we going or we're not?" She said, "Yes." So I booked it. And that's just kind of how I operate. I just kind of do things and figure out the rest later as you need to.
Hey, I'll be your accountability partner when it comes to travel. How's that? Because man, I love it and
You're
I do
good
it.
at spending my money, Tim.
Yeah, man, I love it and I do it. And even if it's just hopping in the car and going somewhere,
Yeah.
I hop in the car, get on a plane, whatever, man. I'm all for it. I love to travel.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I don't really have much more around goals and clarity. I mean, I think it's clear to see how they go hand in hand and how they help us stay clear on what we want to achieve throughout the year, whether it's in a 90-day sprint or a year-long sprint. I think it's incredibly important to have that kind of accountability, and obviously when you're working with mentors and things like that, like they're going to hold you accountable. But your mentors are clear on what you're trying to achieve, so all they're trying to do is hold you accountable to your clarity that you're the one that put in front of them. Kind of full circle with like the guy that we were originally talking about. He knew exactly where he wanted to invest. The Maui East Coast time difference is 6 hours. Oh, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
So
I'll take
take
credit.
4.
I'll take credit. Like I said, I was just there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But yeah, and hey, folks, like the last few weeks have just been Tim and Tim chatting with you. We do have a little bit of a run of some guests coming up.
mhm.
So over the next few weeks, make sure you tune in. Got some good guests on the slate, and really looking forward to having conversations with those guys around goals. Got one guy coming up in April who's doing some really cool stuff in real estate. Just left his W-2, so a little inspiration for everybody out there. So yeah, I can't wait to see everybody over the next few weeks and have some conversations with these guys.
Yeah, next week we have somebody I met through the North Carolina RIA Association, the RIA meeting that I had attended. She buys mobile home parks. So we're going to talk to her about how she's structuring her business and where she's buying properties and all things mobile home parks. So like I don't really know a whole lot about them, so we're going to bring on somebody that does it and focuses on and has crystal clear vision on what they want to purchase. And hers is mobile home parks. So next week, if you're interested in mobile home parks, join up and hear what she has to say. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two.
Yeah, looking forward to that because, like you said, I don't know much about mobile home parks, so I'm looking forward to learning a little something.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you next week then.
All right, take care, guys. Have a great week.